Hello everybody, this is Disco Ferrari. Thank you for joining me on the 5 reasons not to remake Final Fantasy VII. Just to be clear, this is one of my favorite games of all time. It's an awesome game, but they've chose to remake it, and I don't know if that's a great idea to do. So without any further ado, here are my reasons not to remake Final Fantasy VII. Reason number 5, length. This game is long. Seriously long. In fact, if you go on the internet, NowGamer.com rated this game the 3rd longest game as of 2010. Myself, I've put well over 40 hours in this game, and if I want to beat the weapons, I need to dump another 20 or so. In my opinion, this game is way longer than it needs to be. But because each character has an individual story that is explored to a relatively neat conclusion, I can see why the developers made it as long as it is. Apparently, even the developer Square agrees with me. Square released a statement on their website that acknowledges the remake will be made into a multi-part series. The reason is stated as, if we were going to try to fit everything from the original into one remake installment, we would have to cut various parts and create a condensed version. We knew none of you would have wanted that. And of course, they're right. But because the story is so long and none of it will be omitted, it's going to have to be a multi-part series that most people who have played it before already knows how the story will end. Time in between sections here will cause disinterest and people to move on to other things. A sad thing to say, but this is the reality we've been faced with. Reason number 4, voice acting. I think I speak for everyone when I say during the trailer release, hey, that's not what I thought they would sound like. And of course not, because imagined voices never live up to the expectation when heard in life. They can only fall short in this department. And I have a feeling children who've grown up playing video games the past 10 years wouldn't put up with too much reading in a video game. Of course, there are exceptions who would still enjoy reading so much text, but in order to appeal to the widest audience possible, and therefore justify the huge budget for this project, they would need to include voice acting. When graphics are this visually arresting, having text definitely causes a disconnect there. Also, I don't know if I have the stomach to sit down and listen to a 45-minute monologue session from Sephiroth, or Bugenhagen talk about the Ketra and explain how the life stream works. Or hear Cloud fake a woman's accent in a... You know what? That might be funny. Never mind. Reason number 3. Battle system. I believe, and I have for a long time, that this battle system is great. With active time meters you can manipulate with different spells, great variations you can create with materia, it led to a turn-based and dynamic experience. Abilities are determined by the materia they have, rather than the character's set design, so it's nice that they're heavily customizable. The only set abilities on characters are limit breaks, which are upgraded the more you play a character and are great action pieces, each one. However, because this is a dated, turn-based approach, they are overhauling the battle system, and especially the purists for this game won't like whatever replaces this system. The only thing I don't like about the current battle system in the old game is it's about 30 seconds from the random encounter on the front and the back loading screen. And every time that happens, you have to reset your frame of reference when returning to the matte painting and navigating those difficult sections of the 2D environment and your 3D character. Reason number 2, music. I have to say that this soundtrack is the only one for a video game that I actively looked up on iTunes and purchased. It is that good. Because video games back then didn't have voices and character models had little more life than Play-Doh, they had to set the mood through music. And this game delivered every single time. Every time I heard Shinra's theme, I automatically knew some shit was gonna go down. Eris's theme was so sweet and soothing, I loved to listen to it on a loop. And Sephiroth, good God. Genova, I don't see how you couldn't be pumped up by that. And therein lies the problem. The composer, I know I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Nobuo Uematsu, is a genius. He knew how to manipulate the sound capabilities of the PlayStation to invoke the correct emotions at the correct time through his music. It added so much to the story and gameplay. With updated sound capabilities, I'm afraid how this is going to translate into modern music. Some of the buzzing and whirring of the PlayStation, my mind won't translate into the timbre of a French horn or a bassoon, and there's going to be some loss there. That being said, I listened to the music in the trailer, and they did a very good job with it. I guess we'll see how it comes across. And of course, the reason number 1 has to be nostalgia factor. This is obviously everybody's number 1. It has to be. Because no matter how old you were when you played this game, it will never give you that same feeling ever again. And this can be said of all remakes, although few games meant as much to as many people as this one did. The music, the story, the cutscenes, all of it were experienced when I was 14 years old. This was my first Final Fantasy game, my first game with such a great story, new innovative battle systems, music that my friends even played in their car, secrets that we talked about over lunch rather than just getting it from a wiki. And this game, no matter how good it is, can't scratch that itch that we had for the original. For those of you that didn't play the game when it came out, you probably aren't one of the ones calling for the remake unless you have a little bit of that nostalgia too for playing it whenever you were of that certain age. There might be a few of you out there that couldn't get through the game because it's such bad graphics and it's hard to control, but I'm guessing that there are far fewer of you with that rather than just the concept of nostalgia. So there it is, my list of reasons not to remake this great game. But guess what? It's going to happen anyway, whether I like it or not. And such a large part of me is happy with that. I will say that I am impressed about what I see, and I'm optimistic for what they present. I guess in part, making this list will set expectations so that we are not all as let down because we knew the potential risks and might be pleasantly surprised by the result. I guess time will tell for sure. For my next video, just to make it fair, I'm additionally going to make a list of the top 5 reasons to remake Final Fantasy VII. I think that'll be more fun, and a little bit easier as well. Adios, everybody.